Hi, so this is my new digital product. It's a product launch template with product and packaging and shipping costs, and I've got supplier links and all sorts in here for you. Basically designed so that you can cost up and price your products effectively without losing money. And there's lots of different things we take into account and ways we can calculate things. So what I've done is I have included this tab that tells you all about how to use the digital product, and you can just scroll down and read all of that. And the first tab we have is the product costings tab. Now this is where you price up your products, just very basically what it costs you to make them and what you might sell them for and the kind of margin you can get. This only takes into account the product ingredients at this point. So what we do is we write the product name in here, and then average weight per unit, or in here I like to set out this table so that it's for a batch. So we're going to say the batch weight is 5,000. You can fill this in or not. This table bit isn't linked to anything here. This is just for your reference. This bit is, however, linked to the calculation, so you need to fill out the batch quantity. We're going to say we're going to make 20 bath bombs, for instance. You can see here I've started filling in the ingredients. So for bath bombs we know we need bicarb. The cost per gram is basically the cost that you buy it in. So if you buy a kilo bag of bicarbonate of soda and it's, for instance, £12, then you divide 12 by 1 kilo, so 12 by 1000 to get your gram weight, and you put your gram weight in here. As you can see, I've already filled in a gram weight there. I don't know what that equates to, but that's just a random number. And then the grams in the batch, so this is how many grams you use in your batch that you're making. So if we're making a 5 kilo batch, let's just say that we're using 2,000 grams of bicarb. So we multiply that by that, and that gives us how much it costs us in bicarb to make this many bath bombs for this batch. Go down to the bottom and we've got the total cost, so it'll total up all of your ingredients that you've put in here, in there, and it'll divide them by the number of units you've said you can get out of that batch. And then what you can do then is decide on a cost price, just anything at the moment, to sort of give yourself a rough idea of what you can charge for the product. So just a random number, if I put a 6 in there, it'll tell you your profit in there, and it will give you a profit margin down the bottom. Now if you need more rows for your ingredients, you can just right click over here on the number, and then you just select insert from the drop down menu, and then it will just insert a new row for you, and each one of these tables is for a new product. And that's basically just giving you that initial basic calculation. This is where you can figure out if the recipe you've got is even worth making, worth pursuing, or if it's too expensive, or if you need to get ingredients from somewhere else. It just shows you where you need to be saving a bit of money, or if it's a very cost-effective recipe, and then you can move forward. So just a basic calculation there. Then we need to move on to packing and shipping costs. Now in this table what I've done is give you space for all your packing materials. So here you'd list things like tissue paper, shredded tissue, packing peanuts, business cards, anything that you use when you're packing orders. Put the supplier name and a link to them there if you like, so that you've got reference. The number of the item you get in a pack, so let's say we're buying business cards. I quite like Moo, they're quite good. And let's just say I get 100 in a pack, and we'll say that's £32 cost per pack. Click away from that, and in here it will tell you your price per unit. So each business card there is costing me 32p. If I want to put any notes here I can, like for instance the Jiffy envelopes, I'm just reminding myself that I should only ship a certain item in it, or large letter, what it will fit, just for your own reference. And then this is basically to budget, to buy in all your initial packaging materials, and it'll give you a cost at the bottom per package. So let's say you use, if you input all the things you use to pack one order, then it calculates it all here for you and adds it up. So it's telling me here that it costs me £1.32 from what I've put in there to package an order. And that's just my packaging cost. Then I come down to the table down here and I've got some courier information, and I'm just putting in like courier services I use, like Royal Mail, large letter, etc., the weight bracket, and then the price. That is the price it costs me to post that item to my customer. And then this column automatically adds in your packaging cost to your shipping cost, and then gives you a total here. And then what I like to do is add an extra 10% margin to that, and what that's doing is covering you for petrol trips to the post office for delivering packages, and just any extra costs you can incur that you can't account for up here. And you can decide to use that or not. Sometimes it's worth using, sometimes it isn't. But this column here is what it's actually costing you to package and ship a single order. And this is obviously average, because each order is going to perhaps have a bigger box or more void fill or whatever. So you're taking this as a general average, which is why it's always good to add that little 10% margin on, because it just covers for fluctuations. So that's where you can get your packaging and shipping cost from. The next tab I've got is for CPSRs. These are the cosmetic safety reports, and this is so that you can plan and budget for what you need. This is just a very simple calculation. Usually they will charge you for a base recipe, so let's just say this is a shea butter soap, and the cost including VAT for that base recipe is £180. And then let's say I have like 10 variants or something, I'd just put them in here. So let's say we've got an orange soap, and that's also £50 for each variant, and then it'll just total up for you what the CPSR for that particular product and its variants would cost you. If you have any additional costs, such as challenge testing because your product might contain water, you can just put this down here in the variants. So challenge testing cost, and then we'll put 300. Unfortunately that's about right for what that costs, and it gives you a total there. And then this whole sheet can just become your plan for when you're going to purchase your CPSRs and what to expect price wise. Now over on the right, which you can't see in this particular video because obviously I've blanked it out because it's in the spreadsheet, but I have given a list of suppliers for CPSRs in this spreadsheet, so that will all be to reference on the right. And obviously you've got lots of different bits there, and you can also copy and paste them if you like. And then moving on, we've got equipment costing. Now this is more the planning stage. So if you need furniture, or if you need, say you need a new mixer to do some bath bombs, you can just plan for it here. So I'm going to say I need a overhead stirrer, and say Amazon again, just for simplicity, and I just need one of those, and it's going to cost me, let's say, £200. And you'll see again the green cells populate, and it adds it all up, and then you get a grand total down here of what you're going to need to spend for your equipment, just so that you can budget your business and know exactly what you're spending. And obviously you can delete these out and change this at any time. So that's that section, and off to the right again, which you can't see at the moment, but there is a list of equipment suppliers that I recommend for various things as well, just a little bit of help. Then we have labour costings. Now this is an extra cost to what you charge the customer for your product to include in your product prices. I didn't include them in the product costings, but we will do that later. So let's say we're doing bath bombs again. So I've got my bath bombs there, my batch size, this is the number of bath bombs, not the weight. So let's say that's 120 bath bombs. Let's say to make those 120 bath bombs it takes me 4 hours and I want an hourly rate for my work of £15. Then this column divides that up to give me a labour cost of 50p per bath bomb, and then I can take that amount and add it to my product cost, which we do in the budgeting section. This table is basically for you to play around with to find the best price for your product and the best way of selling them. So what I've done is I have your product here. So again, we've got the bath bombs. Cost per item to make, £1.75, and that would have come from your product costings tab. The labour cost per item would have come from your labour costings tab. And then this is the total of those two together there. So that is your total production plus labour cost. Then I've got a shipping column. Now for this I add the full shipping rate to post one product to the customer. So if I was just posting one bath bomb in a box with some void fill and a business card, etc., that is the cost from my packing and shipping costs tab. And then this total here is the total of your production and labour and shipping. So the full cost to make and ship just one product. So if that's the full encompassing cost, everything it costs me to make and ship a product, if I sold it for £10, that is the profit I would get, and that is the profit margin I'd get. Now, this is where you can look at this and say, okay, well, if I charge £10, I can include free shipping because the shipping is included in this cost. And I'd make that much. Or you can decide to charge £10 and then charge shipping on top, if you see what I'm getting at. You can also decide perhaps to put a number of items in that. So if you were shipping 2 items and the labour cost for those 2 items obviously doubles, and then that goes up, but the shipping would stay the same because it would be the same size box. Is it more cost effective to offer those products in a bundle, or could you offer a bundle discount to the customer? Things like that. So you can just play around with this table and then it helps you decide on how to bundle your products, what offers to do and what prices to charge. I do also have a dedicated product pricing calculator which is also available. These products kind of work in tandem together, so having both is beneficial, but I thought this sort of product gives you a few more things to do as well, and works in harmony with that, so I thought it would be a nice new addition. And then finally the last tab is your checklist for launch. So I've written some example things in here. You can of course change them, there's no calculations in here or anything. This is just for you to check that you've completed them and write the date. And you can just follow these tabs for each product and each new launch just to make sure you've got all your prices correct and everything is working the best it can for your business. And you can find the link to purchase this down below in the description. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I hope this is useful, and I'll see you in the next video.